So I'm Dan Pronovost. I'm the CEO of Driftscape. Thank you for giving us a bit of time today to tell you a bit about our company and the investment opportunity we have. All right, so Driftscape. We started the company in 2017. At that point, then we launched our first product platform into the market in the fall of 2017, started our first sales in early 2018, and we've been growing ever since. So you might be wondering, why target destinations with a digital tourism SaaS platform, which is what we do. Fundamentally, this is a market that is primed and ready for disruption from AI. And we have a proven AI-based platform and technology that is desirable, it sells easily, and this market really likes it. This is an existing, large, and underserved market that is ready to promote their destinations with better digital experiences. Best way to understand Driftscape is to go through a persona journey of a customer and an end user. So let's talk about Linda. She's a marketing director for Victoria, BC, and she needs to get more people into local businesses and then to be able to see measurable results from anything she does to promote her region. She hears about Driftscape from a nearby town that signed up last year. And so she goes to our website, sees there's a free trial, and signs up and gives it a try. Within minutes, she has some amazing digital content and experiences that have been created. She gets it, she loves it, she signs up, and within a couple of weeks, she's live on our website promoting Driftscape to her visitors and users. Visitors start exploring more, they're participating in local businesses, they're trying out digital campaigns, and they're showing up in stores. Now let's think about a typical user journey inside Driftscape. Bob is traveling in Victoria with his kids, and he's looking for something fun and engaging to do while there. He opens Driftscape from the Victoria, BC website, or maybe from a local QR code in a business or a placard or a billboard. And he sees that there's some really cool scavenger hunts, digital scavenger hunts downtown. So he shows the kids, they think it's cool. They're off and running and trying it right away. They're having fun and the kids are leading the way. And then before you know it, they're popping into shops, they're spending more on food, they're spending locally and supporting local businesses. Now I'm going to talk about some of our features, the most important features that our customers love and use the most. Absolutely the most important feature, especially in 2025, has been our AI listings and AI generated content. This is something that we made a big bet on several years ago, and it has proved incredibly successful and important to our customers, and we've built it up since. So basically what it's about is we allow destinations to go from taking weeks with resources to create beautiful content for their destination to minutes. It's that simple, using our complex and AI-based IP technology. On the bottom left is actually a screen from the free trial process on our website, which I'm actually going to show you during the demonstration. And so I've typed in the name of a place. I've started typing Stanley Park Ecology, and it finds the nature house there. So I click on that, and I add it, and then within a few minutes, it's created content within Driftscape for me to view. In the first screen, you can see the map view with the pins on the map, and we can see the Stanley Park Ecology Nature House. In the second screen, we see the actual point of interest, or POI, that we've generated for this destination. At the top is a gallery of images that we've harvested and curated carefully with our IP. We see all the business information, the name of the business, the address, the phone number, the hours of operation, the website, and none of that is anything I had to enter myself to get this going. And then the last screen is the most important part that we added in August of 2025 is our AI text descriptions using Google Gemini APIs. These are very accurate, fun, upbeat text descriptions that really helps the destination get up and running quickly with anything, be it a place, a business, anything that our system will actually create these descriptions. The next most important feature that our customers have and has been in our platform from day one are our self-guided tours. That has been a key backbone of our product from day one, which we're very proud of, and customers just love using them. At the most advanced level, customers turn them into scavenger hunts, so a gamified experience that really drives traffic to the destination so you can do the hunt on site. And we even have advanced audio features such that you can say, play some audio, start walking around. When you go to another stop, the audio just stops and the next stop starts. This really is about driving local foot traffic, which is fundamentally what customers want and need. The last feature I want to talk about, but we have a lot of features in the product, but this is a very popular feature that we've really focused on in the last 2 years, are visitor incentive features. These come in the shapes currently as points and rewards, coupons, and contests. And these are all built into the content management system, the CMS, so our customers have a curated system to be able to use these and add them into their content. Points and rewards are really cool. Basically, people can go around to sites within the organization and collect points. They can make it so that they physically have to be there. So it's forcing and driving foot traffic into local businesses. When they get enough points, the organization can set up different rewards. For example, Bruce County, they have a program where you can redeem your points and they'll mail out pins and t-shirts and hats and toques. Very successful way to drive foot traffic into the destination. So they love that feature. Coupons are for businesses, buy one, get one free. So we have a full opt-in user system that manages that content and information. And a lot of destinations really like running contests. It's a great way to drive traffic. And you can, again, make them location aware. You got to go here to enter the contest if you want. So these incentive programs are very popular for our customers, and we include them for free with all customers. And lastly, analytics. None of this makes any sense unless the customer can prove ROI. So we have rich analytics that are available in the CMS for the customer. It goes way beyond just points of interest and feature views. We can even tell them where visitors come from. And all that opt-in information from users for incentive programs, they get that and can harvest it and put it into their marketing databases. How is the company done? Well, we have customers throughout all of North America, tons in Canada, and very healthy customers in the US, and continuing very strong in the US. We're not seeing any decline there. 278 sales. Average customer range is in the 5 to 10,000 per year range, but it tends to go up. As they get on board with us, they might start at 5,000, but then they want more content. They want to do more as they renew their contracts. Our annual recurring revenue year over year from 24 to 25 is up 50%. So we're definitely in a growth phase right now. But the stat that's probably the most important to keep in mind from a point of view of, is this company really ready for that turnkey stage of growth? Is it at that pivot point? And it's our demo to close conversion rate. From day one, it's been between 15 and 25%. And right now it's around 18%. Basically, if we can get in front of a customer in a video call meeting and show them Driftscape, they love it. They don't have anything like this. It's unique. It's blue ocean territory, although they're starting to understand this more. And it's just, they look at it and say, hey, I can have great ways to promote my destination on the phones that people have where they are in my destination. So they see it, they like it. It's just easy to sell this product. And our sales cycle is going down, primarily because of AI listings in the free trial. Basically, once they try that, they love it. We've had two recent sales within 2 months, and our average is 7, and our close rate has gone down 42% year over year. What are we going to focus on in the future in our roadmap? Definitely last year was, hey, we think AI and automation is what it's all about. We did a lot of customer analysis, understanding, looking at the market, customer pain points. They want fast, quick content. They don't have the resources and time and money to be able to build these kind of campaigns and information, and they want help. And our system is all about that. And we absolutely could go beyond what I've showed you today. And we have a plan to add a lot more AI and automation into the process. And the incentive programs are very popular. We've learned last year just how much they like them. And there's a lot more we can do there. So those are probably the two primary areas over the next 2 years we'll continue to do engineering and advancement in. How's the company done? Here, I'm actually showing you real sales data. Our primary markets are municipalities and BIAs. That's about 80% of our business. And you can see we're on a good, healthy growth trajectory for them. And I should point out, none of this data or these sales have been caused by ads. We didn't even start doing ads until fall, November of last year, when we had the free trial program up and running as a good CTA to run it on. And that's still in an experimental stage, and we're not depending on that for growth. So that's how we've been doing. And here I'm showing you some current data in the solid bars, and then in the dim bars, it's our runway projection. So we have a very detailed runway model available to all investors to look at, along with our sales data and cap table and other data repository information. We will reach profitability by the middle of August 2028, around 2 million ARR by the end of that year, about 3 million ARR by 2029, and actually quite profitable. And you will notice the red bars, expenses, are fairly static. There's a lot of headroom in this company. We're very efficient with our runway and our money. That's real. Like, we'll add a couple bodies around profitability point, but I really feel there's tons of upward motion to be able to continue to support growth. And it's mostly based on demo growth. It's all about top of the funnel for us because it's very easy to sell once they see it. How big is this market? The market is large. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of municipalities. And what we've learned by talking to all these different kinds of customers around the world, they're all the same. They all have the same problem. even, a destination of 100,000 people, they want to bring in visitors. They think the same, they have the same pain points, and they want a digital solution like this. They get it. We've been working on other English speaking geographies, UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand. We closed our first international sale in Australia in March of this year, and we're absolutely ready for more international expansion. And the product is 100% multilingual, and it includes auto translation. Add any content in one language and all the other languages auto translate with Google Auto Translation. So it's absolutely ready for non-English geographic expansion. The only reason we haven't targeted non-English geographies for sales is just we don't have a non-English sales team and non-English support team. We're likely to use partners to increase those sales. We'll have to see once we're ready. So what is the investment opportunity for the company? We're looking to raise $1 million. Over our 8-year history, we've raised about $4 million between internal angel investments, equity investment, and loans, including BDC. So we have a very good proven track record as an operator to run with an efficient cash flow while sustaining low risk growth. What's the long term? Absolutely acquisition. I see absolutely no reason we can't get a solid 10x exit at this point within 2 to 4 years. It is absolutely an acquirable technology for a company that just doesn't have anything like this because it's somewhat new. I don't think we'd seriously consider an IPO exit. I think it makes a lot more sense to be. That's our pitch. I'd be happy to move into the demonstration. Okay, so for the product demonstration, I'm gonna do something really cool here. We're gonna actually do a free trial. I told you all about it. I told you that AI listings are the key to our success and growth. So let's do one together live. So we're a destination. This is actually live at our website. Any customer can do this. And I would encourage you to try it on your own afterwards if you want. Please give it a try. It works for real. So I'm a destination. I've landed here. It's great. Okay, I want to try Driftscape. So we click get started. So I'll enter my name and an email address. And let's say I'm a Kitchener BIA. So I'm here in Kitchener. I'm trying Driftscape to give it a try. Cool. So I'm going to enter the name of my destination, downtown, if I can spell, downtown Kitchener, kitchenerbia.com. And did I spell that right here? I just want to make sure I spelled it right. Yes. Okay, great. It's found my location. We're off to the races. Let's carry on. The next question is, customers don't have to fill this in to do a free trial, but if they have branding information, they can. So I do. This is a real BIA. So I'm going to pick my logo. I've downloaded my logo. I'm going to pick an icon image that will be used for the various map icons and list icons through the product. And, I'm going to change the background color because I know that our color is a black color, but none of this has to be changed. The trial would work just fine without it. Great. We're now at the meat and potatoes of the demo. I want to add some places to make some points of interest. So cool. So we're in Kitchener. So we're going to say Victoria Park is a cool thing. So Victoria Park. And in fact, we immediately find Victoria Park as an actual place and suggest it. So I'll pick on that and add it. Let's say we want to add the Ken Sealing Museum, recently renamed, type Ken Sealing. And in fact, it finds the Waterloo Region Museum. So we'll add that. And why don't we add a business as well? So I love the Lane Smokehouse. So we'll type that. And in fact, it correctly figures out it's the Lancaster Smokehouse. So we'll add that. Great. We've added a few businesses, nothing more than the name. Our free trial lets people try out coupons, points and rewards, and contests. So it has some default settings for that. You could change them, but we'll just accept that so that people could try it as well. Cool. Okay, we're done. We've actually entered all the information we want. All we have to do is verify our email address. So we'll go over here to my mailbox. And in fact, I just got the email. All I have to do is click this link to verify my email address. Great. It tells us, yep, Driftscape is off and creating your content for you. It says 10 to 15 to 30 minutes. It never takes that long. It takes generally 2 minutes, but we'll let it do its thing and come back to this. While we're waiting for that, I'm actually going to show you Driftscape on a phone. To do that, I have to share my phone screen with you. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen for a moment and I'm going to share my phone screen and I just have to find it. There we go. So what you're looking at here is Driftscape. It's the web version. So it's actually running on my phone in a browser. Most people can't tell the difference between the web version and the mobile version. It's fully functional in both cases. Most customers we found in the last year prefer to promote the web version because then there's no app to download. That's just another friction barrier for customers. So we have both. Yes, the mobile version has a few additional features like augmented reality and 3D objects, and some customers will promote that instead. But most customers now are preferring this version, and it's fully mobile responsive and works on desktop and whatnot. So the content we're looking at here is some demonstration content near Windsor. We call this Remington Park. So it has lots of different trial content. Let's tap on their logo in the top bar. I'm just gonna have a drink if you don't mind. This is their custom menu. Customers can completely configure this menu to do whatever they want. It's a multi-level system. It can point to content within Driftscape. It can point to content on their website. So let's explore Remington Park a little bit more. And let's go look at the Discovery Passport. So now our screen has been filtered down to the points of interest on the map that are part of the Discovery Passport. If I tap on the list icon at the top right, I now see a variety of information down here for the Discovery. And I notice one catches my eye. The one on the screen in the middle there, it says Remington Park Treasure Hunt. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to open this up. And so this is an on-site location treasure, a scavenger hunt. So what does it look like? If I tap the map icon in the top, I can see the points of interest that are there. There are 5 of them, and it has lots of instructions. So imagine we're on site. We're going to go try the scavenger hunt. So I'm going to click start this tour. First thing is it's a scavenger hunt. I'm asked to answer a question. And we learned from the previous screen, there are 5 stops on this tour. So there are 5 treasures. So I'll just enter 5. Great. Now we're at the first tour stop of the tour. This is a point of interest view. This is what customers see for a tour stop, any point of interest. At the top is a gallery of images that they've added for this tour stop. And in fact, this particular tour stop on the scavenger hunt is a sculpture display for a war memorial. It was built in 1974. I can learn more about it. On site, I could look around. And when we're done, we're ready to go to the next stop on the scavenger hunt. I click next, and it asks me the next question. What was the year that this memorial was built? Well, we'd see it on the signage there, or it was actually hinted in the text. It was 1974. And now we're on the third stop of the tour. This is the Lens Community Garden. I would go there. Again, I could look at the gallery of images. If I don't know how to answer the hint, there's a need another hint. I can click read more, and it gives me a hint to answer the next question. So that gives you a sense of what a scavenger hunt is like in Driftscape. So we'll cancel out of that, and let's look at some more content. We'll go to their menu, we'll click here, and let's go to food and beverage. And now we're looking at a filtered view of various food opportunities. And once again, I want to look at a tour. So at the very top, we have their Sweet Tooth Trail. It's a tour. And this tour is actually designed to promote different candy shops and sweet restaurants, bakeries, whatever, in that area. But as I scroll down here, I notice at the bottom, there's a button, enter your vote. So this is an example of a contest incentive that we've added. So in this case, we've associated contests with this POI. It's a voting contest. There's different kinds of contests. If I tap on it, up comes the contest entry. So in this case, I get to vote for my favorite candy store. So if I tap select your vote, I can tap on Walter's Candies, and I can tap enter my name. I can enter my email address. Don't have to provide anything else. The name and email is required. And great, I can enter this contest. Cool. This shows me all the information, the preliminary information, the details. That's all configurable by the customer in the content management system. They get to make these things up how they wish. I have an email in my account for this address that tells me I've entered this contest. Great. What I'm going to show you now, I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and we're going to actually go to the CMS screen, and I'm going to show you from the customer's point of view what they would see. So let's try that. All goes well. I'll be able to do that. I'll share the screen. All right. What we're looking at is the back end then. This is what the customers get to log in and see in the content management system. And if I just refresh the page, it's going to ask me to log in. This is the contest view of where the customer is. And we can see Sweet Tooth Trail. That's the contest. And we can see entries. So if I click on this button here, I can see that's the actual entry we just created. So it's all live information. There's a downloaded CSV. So the customer can actually choose to download all these entries, put them into their marketing database. If it was a contest winner, they can then pick a winner. They're in full control. And in fact, all the points, rewards, coupons, and contests are viewable from this page. Now, remember, we started all this with the free trial. So let's go find out if our free trial is ready. Aha, we have an email here from Aaron McCloud. That's our marketing persona. Congratulations, your digital passport is ready. That's what we call the free trial. Let's open it up, and bam, we've created a Driftscape profile for that free trial. Notice the branding at the top. We use their icon, Downtown Kitchener. Even the icons are branded. We tap on them, we can see Victoria Park. If we switch over to list view, we can actually see the list view. We can see the 3 entries that we've added. If we click on the link Smokehouse, we can see all the information our AI system is harvested from the variety of sources. We use a variety of techniques to get this information. So we have pictures of the smokehouse, including their delicious meals. We see the business information, the hours of operation. We could try out points and rewards because some defaults were set. And we see this amazing text, all 100% created with a big upspin with prompts that we very carefully have curated to create that awesome story that the customer doesn't even have to do anything to do. Having said that, if they want to tune this, edit it, change it, they can, or append to it as well. That just, you can imagine a customer doing this and going, yeah, I need that. I want that for my destination. That was easy. Like, let's do another 100 of these things and get promoting our businesses. That's the demo.
You started this company in 2017, you said, and you began sales in 2018. When did you start implementing the AI and when did you first become revenue positive?
I'll answer the first question about AI. So our first entry with automated listings, we called ABDs, automated business directories. That was about 2.5 years ago that we introduced that into the product. And that used some AI to do it, but they weren't as rich and beautiful as they are now. And then 2025, we added a lot more power. We added the Gemini calls for the text descriptions. We fine-tuned some of the other sources because we find we have to bolster it from many, many different places. From the website, there's all kinds of things that we do. We have other APIs that we call in our proprietary chain and a lot of things we do because it's not always perfect. And we have found that for our customers, they need about 95% accuracy. If 5% are not great, they can fix those and deal with it. So we've really been tuning that over the last 3 years. Almost 3 years we've had that feature, and then last year we really doubled down on it. That was your first question, and I'm sorry, your second question was about revenue.
The second one was the revenue.
Okay, so we're not profitable yet, but we're still burning money. But at the same token, like any tech startup, every time we keep making more money, we spend more money because we want to grow. If this company was static, it's a blue ocean territory. There's a small number of competitors if we don't keep growing. So we haven't made profitability a strong goal in the company by any means. We do now. This next investment round is about getting to profitability. We're going to do that. Now is the time. And we really only have to about 3x the revenue, 4x the revenue to get to that stage. So we're still on that path. Does that answer the question or did I misunderstand?
You've told me about profitability, but I actually wanted to know, when was your first paying customer? Like, when did you first revenue?
2018. That would have been, that was a BIA in Toronto. That would have been March of 2018. September of 2018 was our very first sale. That was West Queen West BIA.
So you also mentioned you have 278 sales to date. Does that include both like your unpaid pilot customers, or these are only paying customers?
Only paying customers.
Okay. Perfect. I wanted to make sure on that because sometimes we get people including both. And so in that case, you mentioned that they each pay anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000
a year.
Yeah, a year. And so what do your packages look like? Like you said, you can get somebody on for 5,000 and easily scale them to 10, but what does that easily scalable part look like and how fast does that 5 to 10 conversion happen?
Excellent question. So our pricing is based on amount of content or number of POIs. Okay. We no longer, a big change in 2025 was we no longer price by feature. We realized customers they don't know. I don't know if I want coupons or if I want points and rewards, but what they do know is, well, I'm this big and I have this many businesses or this many points of interest, or I need 5 tours. So we price by content. Typically what happens then is they get all that content up and running. They run a few campaigns. They're very excited and happy, and they need more content. And so then they have to buy more POIs. And the prices vary. AI listings are the cheapest piece of content because they cannot configure them as much as a regular POI. Our standard POIs are extremely configurable. They can add audio, they can add video, they can control every minute detail, and we charge more for those. So it's about a factor of 5 to 1 in price. They also can configure their pricing based on whether they want mobile plus web or just web. And so, but generally, we won't even accept a client. All our plans start at 3,000. Like that is the minimum that we'd start any plan with, and we typically get them up. How quickly? Typically at contract renewal. That's when. We do have some that do it mid-stage. Like 6 months in, they're often running out of room and need more content. I'd say 50% run out of room and then upgrade before their contract renewal. But most of them at contract renewal is the time where they're like, well, we need a little bit.
Okay. And are those increases, like, let's say they started at 3, is it, like 3, 5, 7, 9, or 10? Like do you have packages or...
Right.
How exactly does it work?
We do have packages priced between the bare minimum is around 3,000 Canadian, all the way up to about, I think the packages are up to 8,000, but everything's a la carte. They absolutely, almost every customer sale is a little bit custom. They're like, well, they don't need 100 business AI listings, they need 150. And so we do have a la carte add-on pricing, and mid-cycle we would just do that. So we do not force them into that. In general, for these kind of destinations, they need a lot of hands-on touch. So everything has to be a la carte, even in the sales. That's not uncommon. We're crafting it, but we have a whole pricing calculator and everything that can figure these add-on pricings.
This will be a two-part question, is how many people after that free trial actually then go ahead to paying? And then after the, let's say the first year, how many stay on for, 2, 3, 4 years after that?
Yeah, great question. So LTV and conversion. So the conversion from demo is 18% right now. So that free trial conversion is quite high. And mind you, free trial is fairly new. It's actually a little bit higher than that, but I don't want to promote a higher number than that because it's a fairly new program. The 18% is in general, if we get them into a demo or a trial, then they convert into a sale around 18%. That has been a very, very, very stable number in our company.
How long do your customers stay paying for your platform?
Yeah. Our current LTV, I think, is 3.5 years. Average, 27.4 months is as of today. So a bit more than 2.5 years right now. There is some churn. Churn is because we've had to learn how to sell. We really repackaged everything in 2025. We've learned more about their pain points. And so our churn is going down. So you might look at that and go, 2.5 years, what's going on here? How does that add up? It's taken us a while to figure out, what are the things that are going to keep them sticking around and make sure we focus on that. So I envision that amount, 2.5 years, 27 months, to be going upwards.
I want to take a segue from what you guys are talking about. Dan, you mentioned you guys had to rebrand, like repackage everything in 2025, which is kind of midpoint in your company's history. Like, what triggered the change? Was it the leaps and bounds of the technology, or was there a deeper conversation that was happening among the BIAs and your target audience?
That's a great question. There were two things that caused us to decide, take a look at ourselves more closely and what we can do to have better sales. The first was AI. We made an early bet on AI before it was there. We did see that customers wanted help making content. And so we started doing that, but that was before AI was dominant and usable, frankly. You could not call Gemini 3 years ago. There was no such thing, especially for destination content like this. So what happened was by 2025, as you well know, suddenly all this started working and working well. The success rate and the value equation was there. So it was like, oh my God, we can double down on this. So that became, let's make sure our customers want that. We already think we do. So I started integrating that into our product line and making the content better and better, automated content. And then we tested that with our customer base. We have a lot of customers. We can ask them. And they were just like, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe that works. So we decided, so it was the advent of AI that made us decide we need to focus more on that. That has to be the thing we sell. So that was thing number one. The other thing is until about early March, May of last year, the company had two personas in its mind about what it was. And we aren't that anymore. So now we are strictly a SaaS B2B company. That's what we sell. We provide a product to our customers, destinations to promote to their users. We naively thought from the day we started the company, I'm being very honest about a weakness here we learned last year, because you asked, why did we change? We always thought the company could be both a marketplace app, meaning mobile app, and a B2B SaaS company. And we tried to be both for a very, very long time. So we have a mobile app. And we thought, great, every time a customer comes on board, that's more users, more content. Isn't that lovely? So we had this dichotomy in our heads that we can be both, and it was holding the company back. Marketplace, if you're trying to promote to end users as a tourism platform in general, you need a lot more money than we've raised. And frankly, it's a bigger task and it's a harder task. And you're going head to head with big companies in that case, TripAdvisor, Google, whatever. And we came to realize that this is a bad idea. So yes, we still have a mobile app, but we treat it now just as a tool for our customers. We are 100% focused on our customers. And in fact, that's why the web app is something that we focus so much more on now. It is in parity as much as it technically can be with the mobile app now. And everything that I showed you just works. That's for real what you saw. And it also has the benefit that it gets through that obstruction that we found customers were having was, well, I'm not getting as much ROI because there's not as many users downloading the app. So the reality of giving up on the marketplace idea and the combination of automated content with AI made us said, we need to focus more. I've shown you 3 core features, and that is in every plan now. But a year ago, more than a year ago, we had all kinds of stuff you could buy, and you still can buy them a la carte. If someone wants a 3D object in the mobile app, they can buy a 3D object, fine. And there's other things we sell, including push notifications. We are very engineering strong. I am an engineer. I am a software developer, and I still write some code in my company. Maybe I shouldn't, but small company, got to do what I got to do. But I have an engineering team, of course. But sometimes being engineering strong in a founder-like company like this is a problem because you do too many things. There comes a point in history of a startup like this, you need to narrow your focus and strengthen that focus. And if you go to our website, you'll see our focus is on automated AI content. So that's why we did all that. And it's working. We've had 6 months. This is why we delayed this investment round. I wanted to see the traction from all this work. And it's working, and it's working well. So yeah, we didn't change our North Star, but we reshaped how the company is top to bottom.
No, makes sense. That's definitely how most companies go about, right? I mean, rarely start one place, end up in that place you're at midpoint. So going deeper into the AI, I still hallucinates, especially
yes, it does.
Especially given that you're using more than one data source. How are you guys building guardrails to ensure that the content generated, at least on the first 3 tries, ends up being acceptable?
That's a great question. We have, tens of thousands of POIs now effectively generated from customers. So our customers have helped us learn this. The hallucination rate is about 5%. It can vary. I'd say it's about 1% for images. The images are surprisingly accurate. Text itself is about 5%, once in a blue moon. When it fails, it's typically a business or place that has a very, very small internet. Okay, as I'm sure you know the way that LLMs work, which is the technology that we're using in this case. They always have an answer. That's the nature of a Markov chain behind an LLM. There is an answer to any question you ask. It will find some chain of text that matches. And so you get an answer, and that hence it can lead to hallucinations. So sometimes if it's a business that has a very, very low presence or small, it can hallucinate. Most often it just fails. And so what happens is that our system will say, this is a failed POI. And I prefer it, frankly, to fail. And it fails, and it tells them why. We have a little log history right inside there. It says, well, this one I didn't generate, and it's because, I found a business, but the name isn't close enough, or it's too far away. I can't quite figure out, you didn't give me an address. So I don't know if it's this one or that one, or it's just, I can't find it. So first answer is, I prefer the system to catch failure rates. So there are fewer false positives, but there are false positives. It still happens 5% of the time. The text description is a bit wonky. What we do is we tell our customers they have to review them. They have to take a look at them before they go live. Have a quick scan of the synopsis. You saw the list view in the web app there. Just a quick scan of that usually tells them. The other thing is, for the AI listings, that's not the most important content to the destination. They're typically using those for businesses. And it's like, well, we have an obligation to support 300-400 businesses. They're not necessarily that upset if it's wrong. If eventually the business says, well, this description's a bit wonky, they can come back in and change it. It's not a big problem. So it turns out the customers aren't that worried about the hallucinations as long as they can see them. So like all AI, the answer is people have to read it and check it. AI is not at a stage where you can just run it, ignore it. 95% is awfully good. Our customers are not unhappy with that. They're fine.
I don't think anyone would be unhappy with it. I think right now, 95% I think is a massive win rate, given how AI was just a year ago, right? I mean, we all know how crazy messages we got then. From my perspective, right, what I've understood is each of your clients generally is creating what is called a geo-fenced area, right? In terms of the listings and what they're trying to get done. Within a geo-fenced area, how many concurrent users can your platform actually support?
Yeah. So a number of years ago, 5 years ago, we took a SendGen grant where they were doing, there was a grant opportunity, a 50-50 grant, I think, to run on their super high-end servers, cloud servers, really, really advanced big servers, to test for scale. So we got this grant, and it was a scaling test. So we ran at millions of users on that system. And we did, in fact, make a bunch of changes to the database and to the way it operates to tune. So that was a good exercise. It was like a 6-month process of testing and scaling. We haven't found this to be a big problem yet, other than the usual stuff. Like, yes, I have a backend engineer who's watching everything. We have every guardrail in place. We use Datadog for monitoring. We have PagerDuty when the server hits too high load on anything. So it's just your standard cloud monitoring. And we use DigitalOcean for all the cloud services, hardware, obviously. It's traditional real cloud. We just upgrade the servers. Most of the time, it's just solved by looking at the database and go, oh, you know what? We should add some more indices on these tables. We're seeing this query. We're still at the stage where the optimizations are low fruit. I don't really see a scale issue at this time. It was a bigger concern when we were trying to be a marketplace app. That would have been a problem. But any one of these destinations is, I think, a few months ago, we had 30,000 users over one weekend because, a couple of customers ran a big event over Halloween. It was fine. Yes, we saw the load go up and then we made some changes, and our server costs are not extraordinary. I think we're around 1,500 a month right now. They might go up to 3,000 over the next year as we continue to upgrade. So the scaling seems to be quite fine in that regard. AI, I have to admit, worries me. So I don't know if you're aware, Alban, but in the last 3 weeks, Gemini, the whole world is talking about the fact that their APIs are starting to just fail.
Yeah.
So what's happening is to be expected. AI is being pushed everywhere in the world, and it's underpriced, terribly underpriced given the server loads. At some point, nobody's going to be able to keep up the load, and the economics have to change.
Yes.
I'm starting to smell the feel of this. So last week, we had to put bulletproofing into our Gemini calls with recycle algorithms and waiting pause times. And 50% of the time, their APIs only in the last few weeks have started being a little bit unreliable, despite the fact I'm paying them 10 cents per run or whatever the hell it is. But you just bulletproof the code. We also have our backdrop mechanism. We do have a non-AI based text description, which uses only actual human entered harvested information from a variety of sources. They can always go back to that. If they don't like the AI description at all, it tends to be very small, just a few sentences, not very exciting, but customers can revert to that if they want. Sure. And that's then always incredibly accurate because it's actual information from Google My Business, from their meta tags, from their website, a few other sources.
Which kind of makes sense. Not everybody is going to have that much of, as you said, digital presence on the internet. Anything that makes it easy for them is valid. You mentioned AR as a component that you do offer, AR, right? Augmented reality, as one of the features that you offer for your clients. What has been the user case for it? Because I remember when AR came out decades ago and it was a hot thing, and even we now have it on Google Maps all the time. But what is the demand for it within your platform with your customers?
That's a good question. They get awfully excited at the idea of doing something that's truly unique, that from a tourism destination point of view, nobody is using augmented reality. This doesn't exist. It's almost unheard of. So I'll give you an example. We have a BIA in Toronto, a little bit north outside of Toronto. They got really excited at the idea of having AR objects because it would be cool. They're having an event in this pond, this holding pond. And they're like, yeah, we want to have AR objects that, we can promote that. We can say, come out and find the ducks. So for example, they're going to have this virtual duck, and I built all this for them and it works. You point your phone out at the pond and there's a duck there. And then you can tap on the duck, and then you can enter the contest and say, I saw the duck. You can take a picture of yourself with the duck. Collingwood put ships in their harbor. Collingwood's one of our white label customers. We have two. It's not a core area of our business, but we do have some mobile app white label customers. Yukon is a customer for white label. They don't use 3D objects, but Collingwood does. They have ships in the harbor, historic ships. So they actually did scans of ships, and then they can use them and put them in the harbor. I don't think that's active right now. That campaign's been turned off. But I think what happens is customers just think, well, this is cool. And that will just make people get very excited. The reality is, functionally as a tourist or visitor, it's just cool. It isn't actually functionally an exciting thing. We have a feature called quests, which is something that works in AR mode. Think of it like a scavenger hunt, but in AR mode. And it's like, you're close now. Go over here, you're getting warmer, and then boop, all of a sudden the object will appear. So it's a game on a very, very narrow domain and meant to be used only in AR mode. That is really advanced content. And what we've learned is customers might get excited about these ideas if we put them up front in the package on the shelf, so to speak, but then they may not implement it. That's too much time and effort. We actually have to help our customers not do things because that's just an opportunity for churn. It's like, say we do the 3D object thing, some customers all about that. And then they only get 20, 30, 50, 100 views. Like, first off, people have to download the app. Secondly, they have to go on site. And then they're going to go look at it and go, well, that's nice, but now I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
We actually have to change their expectations. We literally don't even show 3D objects anymore to customers. It's there. It's on our website. And if they get all excited about it, great. And we do have customers still using them because they think it's cool. And it is really cool. We're very proud of that feature. But does it bring dollars in the door? No, it's not. It should not be the center point of this company.
No,
Which
which makes sense
actually-
because AR has had that allure across multiple industries. It's brought in a lot of interest, but outside of, I know, IKEA trying to put furniture in your living room, it's not really had,
Yeah.
like you said, dollar to the door.
Yeah, I could not agree more. There was a company in London, Ontario called XR. They just went out of business 6 months ago. They focused strictly on the AR experience for tourism. They died. They had a couple cool pilot projects they charged a fortune for. They can't sell it to anyone. Like if you got lucky enough to find some silly grant, some government grant as a destination, throw $30,000-$40,000 at an AR experience, but no one's going to try that. And it's not a sustainable model. It's not actually solving a pain point for a destination. It's not bringing tourists into an area. So we have it. I don't put any development resources on it anymore. It works. It's fine. But that we will never spend more time on that unless somebody convinced me there was a market opportunity I'm missing. But I don't see it.
One more question that popped into my head while you're talking about geofencing and the whole user experience. Given that a lot of information is gathered, especially if people are constantly using their mobile phones in that geofenced area, how are you managing your data security? And more importantly, because you have an analytics tool, how are you protecting the privacy of individual users when they fall under that?
Yeah, great question. So that was actually key to the creation of the company. And I was very clear as the creator of the company with my investors, I will never sell user data. I consider Facebook evil, successful, but evil. I don't want to be them. I don't want to be a social media company. We're never going to do that. And I never want to make money by selling user data because I just don't want to do it. Sure, lots of great companies. You can go off and do that if you want. I don't want to do it. I've been around long enough. I don't have to do things I don't like. And I just I wanted to make a SaaS platform. Because of that, our user privacy is exceedingly strong. And we are serious about that. To the point where the analytics, I didn't show you the analytics screen, I just put it in the pitch deck. We only provide information in the aggregate to our customers. Every once in a while, they're like, oh, can't you give me their address or show me their exact lat long? It's like, no, we can only give it to you in the aggregate. We will show them by postal code prefix where they live or where they come from. This many people came from 100 kilometers away. We can figure that out, especially on the mobile side. So your question was security.
Yes.
So yeah, our database is exceedingly secure, every possible protocol. We're not SCO2 compliant or anything like that because that's a waste of money. I'm not going to go waste all my time on such a thing. We don't get asked for that either. We have gone through some security audits. We've had 3 customers actually do an SCO kind of approach. I think we had KPMG actually was paid by City of Toronto to do a full audit. And we, fixed a couple of small things and a technical audit, to be clear. Okay. So we secure the servers, we guard the privacy, we do not give it to our customers because it's outside of our user privacy. And generally what we find is the customers are happy about that. They don't want to violate user privacy either. So like in the incentive program, they can add an opt-in field. There's one checkbox and it's like, you agree to whatever marketing terms you want. It can be on or off. So even that, where that is user privacy. In our push notification system, which is not a feature we talked about, we do have a real-time push notification system we sell to customers, generally not in any package. Well, it's not in any package. They have to ask for it. That system uses Fusion Auth. So any PII is actually held in yet another secure system outside of the CMS database itself. So the database will have that indirect PII, lat long information, the tracking information, that's for sure. But personal information, we put behind yet another barrier. So we're very serious about security. We've never had a serious breach. We've had attempts. It happens. People try. And we watch it, and we have every monitor in place to do so.
Got it. That's wonderful. So one last question on the tech side before I hand it back to Megan. I know she's got a few questions loaded and ready to fire. So one thing you mentioned in your pitch was that you have ability to translate or language models that are built into this app. Now, given that Canada gets a lot of foreign tourists and such, have you noticed an interest in people coming to any of these centers, BIAs, and actually toggle those features on?
Good question. We do have all that analytics. Anything anyone does in the web app or mobile app tracks into an event monitoring. So we have a very advanced event monitoring system. We don't always expose that in the analytics to customers, but we can write any query, and I have hundreds and hundreds of queries I can run. I'm not sure. I haven't recently done a check on the language usage, how much customers or users, I should say, are actually using the different language support. It's a good question. I should run those queries again. I haven't run that for a few months. We just added German 4 months ago. Initially with French, when we added French quite a while ago, yes, people were switching. The Yukon, that was key. They had to have French. That was essential. Provincial government territory. That was critical. And in fact, they don't use auto translation. They have their own French stuff for everything. They didn't want auto translation. I think customers like it as a checkbox. They're like, great, you have all these languages. I'm not sure it's being used as much. A recent example, so we have North Nevada Railway. So it's a railway museum in Nevada. And they said, we get a lot of German visitors. Germans love trains.
I heard that.
I didn't know that. So they show up on site. And for them, one of the reasons they bought Driftscape was so that they can have their content available to these German tourists. They're on the train, they're taking a tour, they don't speak English. They could sit there with Driftscape, flip to German, and read it. That was a big part of their decision. So some like Spanish was the same thing. Like when we started US sales 2-3 years ago in the southern states, Utah, New Mexico, we would get that request. It's like, we need Spanish. We got a lot of Spanish Spanish-speaking visitors. So we added it. At this point, it's quite easy to add any new language to our product. We've got that a very smooth process. The reason we don't go and add 100 languages is because we pay a lot for Google translation. That just is a linear increase in cost. We don't pay for the translation at the user side. So like when you open a point of interest, we're not translating. What we do is when you edit it in the CMS, we translate. And we have a translation table to minimize the cost. Having said that, yeah, it's a few $100 a month, but I don't want them to be $5,000 a month.
That's fair.
Why would we add, Catlin or some crazy language that's not there? That's where developers sometimes in tech companies, they get too excited about the idea of something, and then they don't think about the practical cost. I'm always thinking about what things in the engineering map make sense for making more money. I guard that very carefully and review it every month.
That's a very good policy to have. Like you said, a lot of engineering teams get a little too excited about features, and then when it's time to pay the bills, is a painful shock.
That's how AR became a dead zone for tourism. Too many people thought this was cool. Hey, we added it as well. But I'm not putting any resources on that anymore.
No, that's fair. I think Google does a fairly decent job of using AR, and outside of that, I could think very few real life daily uses of AR.
Nobody needs it.
Exactly. All right, Megan, I think I'm done with my questions. I know you're waiting to get started.
All right. Yeah, and thank you, Dan. Your answers to Alvin's questions were fantastic. So the one thing that I always like to ask founders at the end of their pitch, at the end of their demo, is about anything outside of capital. And that's because usually when we do a deep dive, the problem is capital, yes, but it's also something else, right? Like you always need something else, whether it's sales, it's marketing, introductions. Besides capital, where else are you guys stuck, and what else could you use at this point to get you further along?
For this round, if there was a non-passive investor that was part of the round at a significant level, so at least 300, maybe 500, and who is a non-passive investor, I would be completely open to adding them to our board. And so the board right now is an internal board. And that's fine at this stage of company, but there comes a point when you want to scale and grow, you need more opinions and more people from the outside. We had one, but unfortunately they left. We got a job at BDC running a fund there, Mona Minhas. So I don't like the fact that we're internal. So where could we use help? I would be completely open to opening a board seat to the right investor. It has to be the right investor. There are different kinds of angel investors. There's some that are passive, and then there's also some that think they're not passive, but they're actually not the right person to add to a board. So that would be a very personal decision. I would have to meet them, find out why they want a board seat and what they bring to the table. And then I would welcome the right investor. Some of my angel investors are very old. These are people who were my mentors when I was young. I'm a little bit older too. So who just believed me when I was young and have followed me since. And great. But so I would really welcome some maturity, and I could see that happening. So that'd be one thing. In August of last year, part of that whole reshaping the company, we did bring in a go-to-market financial advisory firm called Bright Iron. They're just part-time in the company, just providing some help. So we did actually make a decision to get help. And they did help us a lot to shape the vision. They're actually the ones who made us see the whole stupidity of marketplace plus SaaS. You can't do both. They're the ones who convinced us. That wasn't my idea. I wish I could say it was, but it wasn't. I knew there was a problem. I just didn't know that it was time to truly focus on one and only one. They've been very helpful to us. At a very modest capacity, a few hours a week kind of a thing. I could see with the right investment firm that kind of help potentially, like if it was like, okay, they're Bright Iron's helping us with go to market. If there was some other aspect that someone could help us, we can do things better. I truly see us having no problem, or there's no reason why this company can't reach 3x, 4x sales. It should be so straightforward. The market's huge. They love the product. It's easy to sell. They get it. Churn is under control at this point. They like it. Having said that, I think we could use more help on that. I have a great sales team. Marcia works from my last startup, brought her in from that one to this one. Last one was sold, big road to Fleet Complete. She's wonderful and absolutely amazing. You'll get to meet her, I'm sure, if these discussions proceed. But that next step of scaling a sales team from this kind of growth to very rapid, double, triples your sales, we might need some help with that to identify. I just hired a lead generation specialist to do nothing but top of funnel lead gen, including using AI lead gen tools, because that's the thing now. But if we find we're not moving as quickly as I'd like towards that massive demo scale of top of funnel, I could use some help from the right people who might be able to look at my company through a lens that I'm not capable of looking at. Those are the areas I would say.
I appreciate your honesty. You've been very candid about where your challenges are, where things have gone really well, where you're looking at going. So that's absolutely amazing.